16 years ago, some lucky person got to open this package for the first time. Right now though, I'm doing it and feel just as lucky. This is a Motorola Razr 2, specifically the V8 from 2008. The Motorola Razr is the best-selling flip phone of all time and the 17th best-selling mobile. That includes all iPhones and Android phones ever made, so why were these such a big deal, and what on earth am I going to be using one for every day? Well, straight out of the box, these are likeable phones. I managed to get an almost unused Razr 2 for £23 on eBay. It's complete with every original accessory, including the wall charger, which I'm pretty sure has been used. These Motorola earphones as well, and their original ear tips, which haven't even been opened. And what a treat, the original microfiber carrying bag, completely untouched. It's so weird to imagine these things were sat here waiting to be used for a decade and a half, and only now have they been brought into daylight again. As you'd expect for the time, there's a lot of manuals and warranty stuff, but a library of this extent I didn't really see coming. These seem like the original screen protectors, and this little envelope is what you'd use to send back your old phone for recycling, back when T-Mobile was a thing in the UK. The UK faction of T-Mobile merged with Orange in 2010 to create EE, who were in turn bought by BT in 2016. Yes, this phone doesn't have a lot of things smartphones have nowadays, but it works the other way too. Few smartphones can boast two screens, a removable battery, a form factor this small and so bloody beautiful, a physical keyboard with programmable buttons, and this football game. Oh, also, the display on the back always stays on with no backlight, a little bit like an e-ink display I suppose, so you can see the time wherever you glance at the phone. In terms of on-paper specs, the V8 has 512 megabytes of storage, which isn't upgradable, but I love that, and I'll tell you why later. The processor is a 500 MHz ARM single core, which is used to run a Linux-based OS. I couldn't find a reliable source for RAM size, but I'd take an educated guess at around 64 megabytes, considering its predecessor had 42. The V8 has a 2 megapixel camera which is brilliantly able to record and take photos with the shell closed. Great for selfies or getting a unique angle. The screens are 2.2 inches on the inside and 2.0 on the out, both at 320 by 240 pixels. That's a pixel density of 182 on the inner and I guess very slightly more on the outer. The phone weighs 117 grams or 4.1 ounces, and you can see its size both opened and closed here against the case of my iPhone 11 Pro Max. The reason I absolutely love this phone and find it so important is its camera. 2 megapixels is not a lot, but I've realised lately the photos I treasure the most are not valuable to me because of their high quality. They're just photos that are taken in the moment, moments that will never be replicated. You only ever need one decent image to remember those moments, and so the fact that I only have space for roughly 500 photos means that I can be sure to really value each one. I can look at the photos properly once I've put them on my computer. I have a real problem with too many rubbishy photos littering my phone these days, especially with screenshots, so hopefully this sorts this out a bit. I hope I've explained that point properly because I have a bit of trouble articulating it, I think. Back to some more of this phone's characteristics. The 2000s were a time of really unique smartphone designs. You can see the Razr 2 V8 has a little dip in the body here just to make sure that the speaker can be heard if the phone is flat on its back. Also, when playing music you can control the output from the back with these touchscreen buttons. That just looks and feels great. Remember in 2008, touchscreen phones were just beginning to break out properly, so this was a big thing back then, and it's nice to see it still works perfectly now. The V8 has a little loop on the top right here for attaching lanyards or keyrings to. That makes me think people thought of phones as accessories a lot more back then. Smartphones these days are something almost attached to your person. You wouldn't tie one to a lanyard or chain. I mean, they're all screen. Despite my joy at finding the carrying case in the box unopened, it wasn't particularly useful, since the phone was hard to put in and take out of it, and it couldn't be accessed without removing it fully. It was nice having the phone sort of cleaned while in it though, what with it being a microfiber fabric like those little tech cleaning cloths. As for the camera and microphones on the V8, well, as you can see,
It was at this point I realised how impressive the microphone quality was. I've decided I might be using this one for future videos instead of my setup that I normally use.
battery life since I've been using the phone has been about a day of idling with some camera use and a bit of customizing the themes. I did play the football game a couple of times, but it left me more confused than anything, so I didn't have too much screen time. It's good enough, honestly. If your battery isn't holding charge properly, get another battery for 10 squid online. As I mentioned, the battery is user removable, so it's totally doable just to take it out and put another in. You can even charge two batteries if you have to, and swap them when one dies if you're going away somewhere where charging the device won't be easy. Man, these phones really piqued my interest recently. From 2004 to 2007, these were some of the best-selling phones on the market. They were popular too. They seem tacky nowadays, thanks to how smartphone design has moved on, but these flip phones were the bee's knees for 15 or 20 years ago. Motorola even made a V3i version with Dolce and Gabbana. I'm not going to be bothered to Google the pronunciation of that, by the way. I'll probably never need to do it again. But yeah, only 1,000 phones of that model were made, and they're exceedingly rare today. That's such a unique window into that period of consumer technology, and now you can tell your friends about the golden designer flip phone made in 2005, which now sells for upwards of $700 when one comes onto the market. I dread to think what sort of a person would have bought that phone when it came out new, but let's not talk about that. Right, thanks for watching. A bit off topic this week, but since this really interested me, maybe it did you too. Subscribe if you want to catch the next video, and join the Discord to talk about mildly old tech stuff. Patreon members get special Discord perks and their name in the end credits of all of my videos. Mine starts at $2.99 and is linked in the description alongside the Discord if you are interested. And of course, subscribers, I'll see you again next week.